Hi there and welcome to this video review of the BenQ ScreenBar Plus e-reading lamp. Now BenQ have been very kind enough to send me one of these units and I've had it for a couple of weeks now, and actually I've been working on a pretty in-depth edit. I've been stuck in my edit studio literally for the last 2 weeks, pretty much solid. So it's given me a really good opportunity to test the lamp and see how it works for me and potentially for others in the realms of a video editing setup. Now the ScreenBar Plus is really designed to help reduce eye strain when working in front of a monitor for a long period of time. Although I'm fairly disciplined and I do try and take regular breaks, you still do suffer from eye strain from looking at computer monitors for long periods of time. And what the ScreenBar Plus aims to do is just provide an extra bit of ambient light in the surrounding area around those monitors to help reduce the contrast between looking at a monitor and then having a very dark area surrounding that. And I must admit, having used it on this project for the last 2 weeks, I definitely have experienced less eye strain. So that's been beneficial. And just for having a light that illuminates your workspace, if I'm making notes on my desk, being able to see that is really handy. Now the ScreenBar Plus's control interface is very simple. It comes with a handy desktop control, and this allows you to control not only the brightness of the lamp, but also the color temperature. And the benefit of that is that you can change that color temperature depending on the ambient light that you have coming into the room. So if it is the middle of the day, for example, and you don't have any lights on, but you want a little bit of extra illumination, having that daylight balance source is really handy. Whereas if you're working under tungsten light, more traditional lighting of 3200 Kelvin, then you can adjust it to match that as well. Now the lamp is a very simple design. It has a counterbalance at the back and it sits on top of the computer monitor. Now I'm actually using it on a fairly old flat screen monitor, but that flat screen is actually quite a thick monitor by today's standards, and setting up the ScreenBar Plus was really no problem. It has an adjustable counterbalance that is wide enough to accommodate those older monitors, so it's pretty much a universal fit and should work on any modern flat screen monitor. The only area where you want to be careful is with monitors with built-in webcams, because of the way that the ScreenBar Plus does sit. It sits in the middle of the monitor, and so it may obstruct any built-in webcams. The clever thing with the way the ScreenBar Plus is designed is that it sits very close to the monitor but produces virtually no reflection off that monitor. And that's really beneficial because with ambient lighting, depending on where that's positioned in the room, you often get glare and little hot spots on your monitor from reflected lights. And that can be really distracting. So being able to have a light source that produces no reflection is really handy. The control interface is very simple. It has a couple of buttons and a control knob, and that knob will control the brightness as well as the color temperature. So you just click the button to switch between brightness and color temperature, and then you can dial that in manually. What's also really handy though is that it has a built-in light sensor. So the ScreenBar will literally look at the ambient light that is within the room and will attempt to match as closely to that as possible. So it sets the brightness and the color temperature automatically with the push of just one button. And actually I found most of the time I was using this setting, it produced a very natural and comfortable amount of light. And like I say, for most of the scenarios, this works really well. Having the manual controls as well though is really handy, especially if you want to have maximum brightness. Maybe you're looking at something very closely on your desk. And so having those manual controls is really important as well. So overall, the ScreenBar Plus is really interesting and for me has been a really useful bit of kit to have. I must admit I was fairly dubious with it at first. I didn't think that it could really produce much of an improvement to my current editing setup. But actually having used it, especially on an in-depth project where I've been staring at a computer screen pretty much solidly for 2 weeks, I've been amazed at how much of a reduction in eye strain and eye fatigue that I've really experienced. And so if you're in that type of scenario, if you are a video editor or you are spending long periods of time looking at a screen, then the BenQ ScreenBar Plus could be really beneficial. Hopefully this video has been useful. If you've got any questions or comments, please drop them below. I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.